2020, the year which changed many things for Indian Army. One of them was Operation Snow Leopard, that which shocked China. Since long, India had been preparing to take on the belligerent Chinese at LAC. But after the supreme sacrifice made by Colonel Santosh Babu and 20 brave soldiers of Indian Army at Galwan, it had become utterly necessary for India to take up superior position against its enemy, not just to have a military advantage, but also a psychological one to dent the enemy's morale forever. And that happened on 29th and 30th of August 2020, with a set of shock and awe operations carried out by secretive special forces of Indian Army. It is said that after this operation, Chinese feared absolute annihilation of China's Moldo garrison. We are sure that you must have heard many versions of this operation already, but we can assure you, as always, we bring to you some lesser known facts of the operation. Hello everyone, welcome to Resonant News. Today we bring to you part of Operation Snow Leopard, which had destroyed the Chinese bubble of military superiority over India. It so happened that during the many flag meetings between local commanders of Indian and Chinese army which were carried out after Galwan incident, it was clear that the Chinese side was not interested in any sort of peaceful resolution and they continued with their rude behavior. Indian Army Special Forces were already tasked to be ready for some special interventions by General Naravne after Indian Prime Minister's visit at Leh on 3rd July 2020. The final green signal came in late August after NSA Ajit Doval had a tri-service meeting. At the meeting, it was decided to capture few peaks to pressurize China's Moldo garrison and to gain leverage on Chinese forces. Simultaneously, our then Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat had also cautioned the nation to stay prepared for any sort of eventuality, even if that meant war. Many plans were discussed and vetted. Finally, one plan was selected by General Naravne. The whole operation was expected to be completed in just 2 hours. Just a little trivia. General Naravne is considered an expert on China and has served as a staff officer and in close association with SFF, the Special Frontier Force, as visible in this pic. The operation against Chinese was spearheaded by the troops of SFF on 29 August 2020. The commandos of SFF are specialized in very high altitude mountain warfare. According to a US-based research center, Indian soldiers are superior to their Chinese counterpart when it comes to high-altitude mountainous warfare. Add to this the fact that SFF, which is a secretive special force composed of mostly Tibetan population, are accustomed to low oxygen levels and colds of Ladakh, unlike the Chinese counterparts. Up by SFF was to be carried on one side and simultaneously artillery and armoured elements were also put on alert to counter PLA's attempt to thrust into Chushul Valley. Air defense troops were also deployed with shoulder-fired anti-aircraft Igla missiles, networked and coordinated to shoot down any Chinese aircraft interfering with the advancing troops. So finally on 29th, utilizing the darkness of night as cover, Indian troops started a rapid advance on the hills battling low oxygen levels and freezing temperatures. Some troops also drove to the foothills in mobility vehicles, but unfortunately, during their climb, 2 of the SFF soldiers had stepped onto mines laid by Chinese during the War of 1962. One of the soldiers was grievously injured, but despite this, SFF decided to continue with their operation. The Chinese had also heard the blast, but they were too late to react. Indian troops had by then captured the heights. The operation was completed by SFF before the stipulated 2 hours. These troops crossed over into Chinese claimed territory with lightning speed. At a few places, traditional LAC was crossed by more than a kilometer to secure advantageous position overlooking the Chinese positions, is what is claimed. They had achieved their objective of securing the Spangor Bowl, an area south of Pengongso and east of Chushul. By 31st August, one complete infantry brigade with over 2,000 troops was holding the heights overlooking the Spangor Bowl, armed with French Milan anti-tank missiles and Carl Gustav rocket launchers. The Chinese garrison at Moldo was virtually under siege. The Chinese troops did try to take positions below the Indian fortifications, but those were only few and scattered. Random firings continued for a few more days after this operation. During the operation, we lost Tibetan commando Naima Tenzin, who was grievously injured. He was put to rest at his home in Leh. His coffin was covered with both Tibetan and Indian flag. This was the first time when a Tibetan sacrifice for India was being acknowledged publicly. Chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Jai Tibet and Vikas Regiment Zindabad reverberated during the funeral procession. This incident had galvanized Tibetan communities' fight against a free Tibet like never before. It is said that during his visit to Leh in July, Prime Minister Modi, during a briefing, had said, "I am not interested in what the Chinese have done and what they will do. I am interested in what you have done and what you will do." The officers at the briefing had understood what he was hinting at. What followed, as they say, is history. A humiliation Chinese army will take time to recover from.